Okay, so today is August 5th, 2025, and that net is a little bit messed up, which is okay. I am here with someone else, not someone I know, but if you hear two sets of dribbling, that's why. The energy today is an energy of the letter H, the eighth letter of the alphabet, and the energy of the fifth letter of the alphabet, which is E. There's a lot of different topics I could have talked about, or I could talk about when it comes to 8 and 5. But what I want to focus on is the word or the words, specifically relating to harnessing energy. This is appropriate due to the year of the horse and horses wearing a harness when you are harnessing their power. And there's like a lot. I could talk about harnessing equilibrium, harmful energies, and this is the 8th month. So we're talking about karma. It's kind of like a karma themed month. And understanding that your karma is a type of energy that you are able to harness for different purposes. We talked about the different avatars of the horse. If you are someone born in the year of the horse, or anyone for that matter, it's important for you to know that we are going into the year of the horse, 2026. And the avatars of the horse would be, in my mind, the racehorse, a horse that harnesses its agility and speed. You would have the workhorse, which harnesses its strength and stamina. You would have a donkey or an ass, similar to the one that Jesus came in on, and that type of quote horse, not really a horse, but you know what I mean. That type of horse energy would be an energy that harnesses humility and harnesses being humble, and understanding that while you have the power to say or do certain things that may harm other people and may harm other people's energies, that you have to show restraint. And you can also be a pack mule. A pack mule is used, like, it's like similar to a donkey type of thing. So you get that. I'm not going to touch on that too much. The other one would be a show pony, or like just like someone that is harnessing their energy, harnessing themselves, really without a harness. You know, you don't really see show ponies with a harness. I think I've never really even done much research into this, but I would just imagine, like, if you're showing something off, you don't want it to be obstructed or covered. So harnessing your excellency, which is ironic, right? Your excellency, as if like this avatar is like a royal avatar. The show pony is like an example of a horse which its purpose is to not really work. It's not there to carry out a task. The task is its beauty. It exemplifies the energy of being an example of divine creation. Your karma, if your karma is the karma of a show pony, or you are harnessing your energy like a show pony, then you may say or do things that don't necessarily equate to you being workful, like a workhorse, you being goal oriented, like a racehorse, or you being able to carry a burden, like a donkey or a mule. So, what are the H and E? What are the harmful effects of all of these? The harmful effects of the show pony, of someone that is showing off their energy, showing off their karma, that person that just, I'm not, nothing against like people that wear a lot of like jewelry or like a lot of gold, but like people that like just wear a lot of like flashy stuff. It opens you up to energetic attacks. It opens you up to it opens you up to harmful effects, harmful energy, and people wanting to take the things that you are so proud of. The lion is a very prideful animal. Lions have a pride. That is what they call themselves when they're all together. So when you are being too prideful, you have competition. You're always going to have competition. You're going to have people that are going to do their best to harmfully affect your energy. So that. What are the harmful effects? What is the harmful energy of being a mule, of being a pack horse? The harmful effects are similar to how Atlas carries the world on his shoulders type of thing. That is very burdensome. It's something where there's a necessary level of pain that comes with that. There's a necessary level of negative emotion, harmful emotion that comes with you bearing the burden of the people around you. Even if you're doing it for a good reason, even if the pack horse loves its owner, loves its master, the effects are biological, the effects are physical, they're spiritual, and they come in so many ways. The ways I can think of off the bat would be, which is ironic, yesterday's video filmed at the baseball field, which I will link here. The harmful effects of just being a pack horse are your literal spine. Your spine. Your spine is where your Kundalini energy travels. I hope I'm right about that. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. So understanding that if you are not able to posture yourself in a way similar to the show pony, where you are posturing maybe to an extreme, then you may be hunched over, and this can be physical, this can be spiritual, this can be an emotional hunched over. At work, you may be working so hard, you may be such a pack horse at work where you are not being a good example for yourself, for your fellow coworkers, for your family, and if you have children, more importantly, for your children. The harmful effects of being a workhorse are similar to that of being a pack horse or a mule, but the effects are very similar. In fact, these two avatars, in fact, could be into, they could be looped into one, or tied into one, or linked into one, like 8 energy. But I like separating them because to me, the workhorse is a little bit more like the ox, or more like it's more like the ox, yeah. So it's more, it's less purpose driven than the racehorse, but it's more goal oriented, I would say. I would say the mule, the donkey, is kind of doing all of this work, and it doesn't always have a reason. It doesn't always have a soon, something that is going to happen soon, something that they are hopeful about. The donkey is more of an obedient animal, in my mind, than the workhorse. The workhorse has a lot of muscle. It carries a lot of muscle with it. Like Atlas, it is able to discern the reason why it does. It has a very good reason for working so hard because it's able to. So if you are a workhorse, understand that while your stamina is great, while your strength is exemplary, you are also a very intelligent animal. You were given intellect. You were given the emotion of divine thought, which is a feeling. Yeah, when you have a really good idea, it's less of a thought and more of a feeling. Understanding that if you are being a workhorse, if you do have a master, you are not in the same position as a mule. You are not in the same position as a donkey may be in, where a donkey may look more at the ground in front of it, like kind of an ox. But the workhorse is able to look more straight ahead, and you are able to more easily discern between masters and understand that the work you are doing for someone else is the work that you could be doing for yourself. The logs that you are pulling, the literal Excel logs that you are creating, are logs that you can pull for yourself, logs that you can create for yourself, that you may excel in your own work. Understanding that the racehorse is beautiful, but it's beautiful in a painful way, in an excruciatingly beautiful way. It is an animal of endurance, agility, and understanding that the racehorse may be too goal oriented. It may be too driven on one finish line, on competing with the racehorse next to it. And its jockey, while lightweight, carries immense power over it. That jockey can be your family. It can, which, you know, your family obviously carries a lot of weight in your mental, but understanding that your jockey, while feeble and while you have the ability to trample over it, has so much control over the racehorse. So much emotional energy is harnessed by the jockey. And understanding that you are Homo sapien, you are human, and you are able to discern between a good jockey and a jockey that is ego driven and purely wants purely wants to take their pride to extreme heights. Going a little bit away from the horse analogy, and this is all very true. Look, an ant. Very true from a perspective of the year of the horse. I would like to talk about the home energy. H is the first letter in home. Obviously, E is the first letter in energy. And what is your home energy like? Do you have a balanced home energy? 5 is a number that lives between the numbers 1 and the numbers 10. You know, right? We don't talk about the number 10 too much. I talked about the number 10 because I have a deep connection with 0. And 0 in the tarot is the Fool. So if you lay those tarot cards out in a circle, the Fool would be right here. And then you'd go through. And then the last card before it resets would be the World, would be, in my mind, Atlas. So understand that while the Fool carries no weight on its back or has zero regard for for their responsibilities, and on the contrary, Atlas has all of the responsibility on his back, has all of the world's burden on his shoulders. Understanding that both serve a very good purpose, and 5 is that number where it is both Atlas and the Fool. It is both the World and the Joker. Being able to carry the burden of the world on your shoulders, but laugh about it. But understand that while you have such extreme responsibilities, you also one day maybe will pass and not be here anymore. And your energy will be reset. Your energy will be given back to Mother Gaia. And you can carry both vibrations with you. I see 5, 5, 5, 5 as a number of vibrations that are negative and positive vibrations. But without both, you do not have vibration. Without a low pulsation, you do not achieve a high pulsation or the middle, which is pulsation. What ends up happening is people really like to declare their karma, or they like to put a label on certain things they've done in the past. And that's fine. That's good. It's good to say, I did this thing and it wasn't the best thing. But it's also good to say, I did that thing over there. And now I'm over here and I can do a better thing. Even if that better thing is not your goal, your actual physical goal, and you don't make it into the basket, you attempted. You achieved a new vibration, not necessarily a higher vibration, not necessarily a lower vibration, but a new vibration, a vibration that was unexpectedly expected. A good example of this would be having trauma in your life. And I mean this like a lot of women have horrible, abusive relationships in their life, and they're able to unexpectedly do the expected thing. Not expected by me, not expected by you, but expected by our Creator. And that expectation is to heal other women and teach them how to avoid situations like that. Situations where they have missed their target by this much. Situations where the person they were seeking was exactly who they wanted them to be at the time, but that person wasn't who they needed them to be at the time. And this comes from 8 mating with the number 5 and becoming 13. 13 we've talked about in the book of Judas. Judas was declared the 13th demon by Jesus himself. So understanding that for Judas to betray Jesus, for that person in your relationship to betray you, you knew, and you may believe you did not know as a way of escaping harmful emotions to yourself, but understanding that it was expected. The unexpected was expected. Jesus knew that Judas would betray him. He called him out right before he did it. So understanding that this 13th demon energy lives today. It lives in your karma. It is something that you must take energetic control over. You must master your harnessing of your own energy. Think about the difficulty in harnessing a bolt of lightning. Think about how challenging that would be. Where do you even harness lightning? What are the harness points, right? Where do you attach your strength? Where do you control the lightning? And this is a question for Thor. It's not really a question for me, but every Thursday is Thor's day. It's a day of enlightening. It's a day of bringing light to the things that exist. In a way, it's a way of being lighthearted about this ignoble task you have at hand, this monumental, monolithic entity that you are entrusted to have a harness on. And that monumental, monolithic entity is you. It's you, friend. You were entrusted with your soul vehicle. You were entrusted with your body. I like telling people that you are you, but you are not you. You are simply living inside of that thing which you call yourself, and you exist in this harmony. And that harmony, like a harmonious melodic symphony, can turn back on you, and it can be harm. It can turn into self-harm. So understanding that you are your own protector. You are the protector that has been entrusted with protecting yourself. You are the only person that you have to take real care of yourself, real self-care, real emotional devotion, real empathy, harnessing your empathy, harnessing your emotional empathy towards others is great, but harnessing your emotional empathy towards yourself is really leading by example. The tracking this, if you are recording Mr. Gimbal, or should I say Miss Gimbal, I think you're a mister, but who knows? Mr. Gimbal. I like that. I like the sound of Mr. Gimbal. Then the final thing I'm gonna hold your attention on is going to be the actuality of horsepower. Horsepower is extremely empowering. Your ability to harness your karma's horsepower is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, frankly. I mean this in the way of when you see a supercar going fast, you want to say, wow, that Ferrari, that literal horse on the hood, on the emblem, is just galloping. It is just using all of its horsepower, and it's emotional. And when you use your horsepower, when you use your karmic horsepower, you become this example of emotional mastery. You become a literal emblem of empathy. I can't promise you that this is a good decision, because that same Ferrari, it could, instead of be using all of its horsepower to be an example of emotion, an example of this vigor, it could just as easily go into a crowd of people and cause emotional catastrophe and very harmful energetic effects. Energetic effects, EE 55, vibrations, harmful vibrations. So understanding that if you take this engine, all of this horsepower, your body, your strength, and if you direct it towards the wrong finish line, towards the wrong master, towards the incorrect jockey or giving it control over you, or giving the energetic equivalent of a vampire, a narcissist, the emotional control over you. If you do something like that, you may lose control of that 700 horsepower engine, of that 800 horsepower engine, of that Ferrari 812 Superback. I'm pretty sure super fast. But understanding that, and it really is an emotional exercise to be emotionally empathetic. It's easier to be empathetic towards others than yourselves or yourself, in my earnest expression of an eager, almost silly. I'm trying to think of everything that starts with E and use it. That's my ego. That's my show pony. But yeah, I'm going to shoot one more shot and hopefully all goes well. All went well. I'm content. I am content. Get it? Because content. So that's all. I will see you in many more.